Hey, it works. So, yeah, my name is Rolf. I am a full-stack developer and consultant from Norway. I run Vue School together with my partner Alex, where I'm also a teacher. This is Alex. At Vue School, as probably all of you should know by now, we teach Vue.js and the ecosystem, like Nuxt, testing. This is a video that should play. Let's see. Yeah. Imagine it scrolling through many, many, many exciting courses. Yay! It's the internet. Yeah, so we teach Vue.js through video courses and also some articles on our blog. And this is the amazing crew behind our courses, either as teachers themselves or as contributors. And many of them have already been on this stage today, and some of them will be later and tomorrow, which is awesome. We travel around the world and we do in-house workshops and training, which we love to do. So companies come to us, they say, hey, we want to get better at this, and we put together an extensive training program, and we go out and we have fun. We dig into the theory, exercises, and so on. So I consider myself to be a power user. I can do pretty amazing things on my computer. Like, besides feeding my family, I can tab through windows. I can also rearrange the windows as I say fit with my power user tools. And if needed, I can minimize the window very fast. You see, I really, really love shortcuts. And as generalizing as it may be, I think most of you are the same. So I wonder, why is it so that we love shortcuts, we want shortcuts, but we don't freaking make shortcuts in our web applications? Why? And today, there's a frustrating delay here. I'm sorry. Let's see. This is better. So today, I am going to, great. Yeah, that was smart. Today, I'm going to show you how we can easily make application shortcuts. And by that, I mean keyboard shortcuts in our Vue.js applications by using a renderless event component. And first of all, when we need to make shortcuts in our applications, it's very important that the event listener is global. And global events, they are assigned directly to the window object, contrary to when you assign a click handler to a button, like you see in the bottom here. So a renderless component is a component that doesn't render a template. It doesn't have a template. It's only the state and the JavaScript and the behavior. So it's just the JavaScript part of the component. And we define a renderless component by giving it a render function that is either empty or return null. Simple as that. And by giving a component a render function, we're telling Vue to not look for a template or a mounting point specified by the L option. So I want to have a component that looks like this. This is the API I want. We can give it an event. And whenever that event is fired, we can invoke a method. So when the user scrolls, the do something method will be invoked. So we create our component. We start off by creating our component and making it renderless by giving it an empty render function. We need a prop for the event. Nothing fancy here. Should be a string, required. And then in the mounted lifecycle hook, we add our event listener to the window object. And this needs to, whenever the event is fired, it will invoke the handle method on this component, which will be responsible for notifying the parent that, hey, the event actually happened. And we do that by emitting a custom event. And, and as with many things in life, we have to clean up after ourselves. So in the destroyed lifecycle hook, we will remove the event listener. And this is it. This is all we need. Is it OK? Yeah. This is all we need to create this awesome renderless event component. And I will show you a demo. So I made a companion repository that I will link to in the end of the talk, where you can navigate through the examples with your keyboard if you want to. And yeah, so it says, scroll to see the rainbow. And when I scroll, I change the background color. Pretty neat. This isn't the most useful feature, but it's pretty cool that we, with one line like this, can listen for events like that, and also clean up after ourselves. So if I go to the next example and scroll, this isn't technically scrolling, this is just looking like I'm scrolling, but it works, then it wouldn't change the color because we have removed the event listener. And we can also do something else. We can listen for network events. This is very exciting. What can go wrong? Boom. So when I lose connection, I get an instant message saying, oops, you lost your connection. And now the exciting part. Ding, 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 ding. Oh, that was fast. And it disappears. Thank you. And the cool thing is that, to make the last example, this is the important part of the code. So we'll listen for an offline event or an online event, and then we trigger our method, which is either show the offline message or hide the message. And these events, they are native. So the browser natively let our application know if we lose the connection or not. And this is great for notifying the user or restrict certain actions if you rely on auto-saving, like many applications do. If you use Dropbox Paper on a train or something like that, you probably experienced this before. And also, I want to say one more thing about the scrolling example. So one good use case for this would be, imagine that you have a long page, long article or something like that, and the user is in the middle of the page. And as they scroll up slightly, you can slide down your navigation menu, where you have the search bar, you can navigate to other places in your application, and then when you scroll down again, you can just slide it up. So you can kind of like slide it in and out as you to provide a better user experience. Water. This talk is about application shortcuts, so let's get away from the events and start with the shortcuts. Here I have a video, and when I hit the spacebar, it starts to play. Again, I hit it again and it will stop. This is behavior that most of us expect to work exactly like this, but it doesn't. In order for this to work, you need to focus on the video player. You need to click the video player first, and then you're controlling the video player. So with a global event, as soon as I go into the page, I can hit space and it will start. So imagine if you use Dribble or maybe Instagram, I don't know, you have like the L for liking something. Could be good for many, many use cases. So in this case, I listen for the key up event, and then I toggle the video. And since we are listening for any key up event, I need to filter, I need to check if the key that I really wanted to act upon is actually called. So I say I have this conditional, and then I conditionally play or pause the video based on the current state. And notice here that I use a ref to easily access the video, the DOM element directly in our component. The problem with this code, to me, or for me, is that it doesn't look like proper Vue code. I would much more prefer to use the v-on directive directly, and especially the shorthand. So I'd like to go key down dot space and then toggle video. So in order for us to do that, we need to grab the event listener, or in a different way. So let's see how we can tackle that. Ooh. This is exciting. Wow. Okay. So we can get the event listeners from this $listener, and then we'll get all of the assigned listeners in any component. And since we're able to add multiple event listeners, we will get an object in return. So we will grab the keys from that object, and then we will loop through it. This is essentially every event. Then we will add the event listener like we did before, and we will extract the handler from the object as well. Now, we can remove the props and the method completely because we don't need it anymore. That's nice. And then we need to clean up, and we'll do exactly the same thing. We will loop through the listeners, but instead of adding the event listener, we will remove it. Make sense? And now we have it, the event listener 2.0. So now we can use the desired API that I'd like to use. And notice here that we use the dot space key modifier, and Vue.js takes care of that for us automatically, which is awesome. We don't have to deal with that dark magic. And we can now refactor the toggle video method. We can get rid of this ugly conditional and have a tighter method or function. We can also refactor the network example into a one-liner, at offline, at online. Look how nice this reads. So another thing you could do, and I would say that application shortcuts is not for the general user. General users, they don't get it. It's difficult to explain what shortcuts you offer the user. So, but imagine that you have either a business tool, or you have a dashboard, or you have like some application that users spend a lot of time in. They work a lot, and they will save a lot of time by knowing the shortcuts. So for instance, you have a dashboard, and anywhere on the page, you can hit Command F and open a search box. It automatically focuses. You can close it with escape. You can type. You can search. And imagine that some results will open here. You can navigate through them with the arrows and hit Enter to open them, and so on. Pretty handy. And in order to achieve this, we need this. This is the responsible code for showing this search box. So we need 3 listeners, but the 2 first are essentially the same. The meta key is either the command or the Windows key, depending on the operating system. 70 is the key code for F, and escape is self-explanatory. And like if you look away from the event listener and the shortcuts system, it's a simple template conditional. It's a v-if. And this could be a component, right? And inside that component, you will handle the search or the lookup or whatever it is. So this is kind of simple to implement, but if you put some energy into it, you can make pretty cool stuff. So I did that. I sat down and I thought, let's look at the table. What can we do with the table? And I think that as a developer, we are often assigned tasks to create basically web design. Like, we don't have any design specs to work from. The task giver says, hey, we just need a page. It doesn't need to look that great. Just make it work. And then they have a ton of data. We don't know how to structure it. So we whip out the good old table, and we just force everything into that table. And now it's too big. What do? Horizontal scroll. Right? But it's ugly. It's difficult to parse. Like, yeah, and so on. So this is what I like to call the table 2.0. And I think that from today, from now, everyone should make tables like this. And yeah, before we go into the shortcuts, one thing that every developer can think of, or is an instant improvement to any table, is that it's okay to have multiple lines of text inside one row. So here I have 2 rows at the top, but you can easily have 3. It looks cool. We have space around it, so it's easy to read. And I also de-emphasize the text by using a lighter text font color. So imagine that this could be any list. It could be orders, customers, whatever you want it to be. And you can navigate up and down with your arrows. You can select the customers with space. And when you do, you get this action menu on top that you can hit right or left to navigate. And when you go all the way to right, it loops through. You can remove it by deselect everything, and same here. And all of the excess information that you would like to see, but you don't need all the single time, can be shown by hitting enter. And this is kind of like a modal. It's just wrapped like a neat page. You can notice here that I have this X button. You can also hit escape to get back to it. And of course, since this is JavaScript, when we go back, it's still in the same state. And it's the same underlying logic here as with the search button. It's a very simple conditional. I can show you. So the user card, if show details, otherwise show the table. Right? And notice that I also, inside this menu, have a navigation menu on the bottom here that you can also go on with. So I think this is pretty neat. And yeah. So the companion repository will be available at github.com/viewschool/application shortcuts. Take a picture of this. I have one disclaimer. I cheated a bit on the last one. I don't use the renderless event component that we created because I needed so many listeners that I decided to use the composition API. But that's good for you because you're expert in the composition API now, after the Greg's talk, Thorsten's talk, and so on, and also Philip's. So that's easy peasy for you. And if you want to use the renderless event component approach, Damien and Eduardo has made a package that does exactly what I showed you here today. But they also cover some of the edge cases that I didn't bring to your attention today. So take a picture of this, use this package, or you can build it yourself. It's quite small and fun and easy to do. And I really hope that I inspired you and motivated you to go home and implement more shortcuts for the power user in your applications today. And if you liked what you saw today and want to learn more stuff like this, you should definitely grab your 1-month free pass. There was a bug with the printer that made the passes. So the passes were supposed to have a URL in the bottom because some phones cannot scan the QR code directly with their camera, which is a bad feature. So for those of you who can't scan it and don't bother to download an app to scan it and so on, take this URL, register there. Do so within 48 hours. We will close down the sign-up form. Take a picture. And right after this, there will be a break. And we have a booth. It's in here and to the left. Come see us. Grab some flyers about in-house training. There's some stickers. Maybe more stickers. Another one. And yeah, come talk to us. Tell us your favorite shortcuts. We can discuss Vue.js training and whatever. Thank you.